And I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. The late, great journalist Harry Evans, one time said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump. His demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world.
Most importantly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, Trump is a threat to this nation. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are. So it isn't much else. Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes. We're going to do all that.
We have to defeat a person who is a threat to our democracy of the kind that we have not seen.
I talk about the fact that when we swore in, finally, in January, that we swore to defend against those that are coming against us, whether they are domestic or international. And right now, I feel like MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically. And we see it time and time again.
Trump is a existential, urgent threat to our democracy. He promises to rule as a dictator on day one, promises a bloodbath if he loses, promises to replace civil servants with his loyalists. So that's the contrast I think folks are going to see tomorrow night, and we're excited to make it.
Yeah, I am pushing to make sure that we can focus on what the danger lurking down the road is that if we don't make sure that we rally and focus on Donald Trump and the extremist good versus evil existential threat that he represents to our democracy, then we're going to end up back there again. And that's the nightmare scenario my constituents want to avoid.
If Donald Trump is elected president, then we are, and it rhymes with crude. He is the gravest threat to our democracy in our history.
Quick question. Does that sound like Democrats inspiring yet another attempt on Donald Trump's very life? Well, Donald Trump seems to think that that's exactly what is going on. But before I get into the broadcast, just a quick break from my sponsor. Well, have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I saw a video of him the other day and I was completely shocked. I mean, the man is literally in his 80s. He is working out, kicking butt, and more active than ever. In fact, what stood out to me is that he seemed stronger than he's ever been. He works out longer and he had lots and lots of energy. And I thought to myself, I want to be like him when I'm his age. So what the heck is he doing that is changing his lifestyle, right? So he claims that he did this by making one change in his life. And I want to encourage you guys to check out that change. And in order to check it out, all you have to do is go to chuckdefense.com/haven to find out what that change is. And I have to tell you, I found out what that change was, and it made a huge difference in my life. And I honestly believe that it will make a huge difference in your life. This is why I've sponsored with them. But you can check it out at chuckdefense.com/haven. And if you want more information, you can click the link in the description box below to watch the video, or if you're on the cell phone, click that more button. But trust me, you're going to want to check this out. Go to chuckdefense.com/haven. All right, back to the broadcast. So let's dive into this volatile rhetoric by the Democrats. The truth of the matter is, if Republicans were out there saying this kind of stuff, they would be claiming all kinds of crap against us. But here we are. We have Donald J. Trump, a former president of the United States of America, and the front runner, or the only runner right now, against Kamala Harris, who was selected, not elected by her people. Well, Donald Trump was elected by his people, and he just so happens to be running against her. And they are out there spreading this kind of volatile rhetoric regarding Donald J. Trump, and they haven't even hesitated to call him a dictator as well. And by the way, that clip you saw in the very beginning of Hillary Clinton, well, that clip, right, was just a day or so after the second attempt on Donald Trump's life. And speaking of these assassination attempts, right? Donald Trump has just ignited a firestorm on Kamala and the Democrats regarding that. And he is accusing them, well, of inciting rhetoric that are inciting these attacks on him. Take a look at this. And this is on donaldtrump.com. You can get all the news on there. But Democrats' rhetoric inspired another attempt on President Trump's life. And he put this out on September 16th. Yesterday, President Donald J. Trump was the target of a second assassination attempt in as many months. Thankfully, the would-be assassin was stopped by the heroic action of law enforcement, but make no mistake, he says, this psycho was edged on by the rhetoric and lies that have flowed from Kamala Harris, Democrats, and their fake news allies for years. And he goes on to actually bring the receipts, some of which I showed you just a little bit ago in the opening. It says Democrats have used increasingly incendiary rhetoric against Donald J. Trump in days, weeks, and months leading up to the two assassination attempts on the president. Now, the GOP and congressional leaders have asked them to settle down that rhetoric. And the truth of the matter is it has only intensified, as has attacks against the former president and potential president, right, Donald J. Trump. I am literally afraid for his life. The Secret Service is not doing their job, by the way. They have come out and stated that they basically, didn't really scour the the entire golf range there, because it was not a scheduled, planned event. It wasn't part of their schedule. I guarantee you they could have scoured it and say, hey, you got to wait a little bit. We're going to scour it and make sure. But this is not what happened. And the fact that they're admitting it just chills me to the very core. I fear for the life of Donald J. Trump, and I fear there's going to be a third attempt, especially when they put that in their out loud voice, right? Secret Service comes out and says, hey, we didn't scour that because it was off the record schedule. In other words, right? Oh, so other off-the-record things that Donald Trump does are not going to be really watched after? Got it. This is putting a former president, life's in danger. We shouldn't have these people watching anybody, right? Kamala Harris or freaking Joe Biden if they can't get their crap together. But anyway, he brings all the receipts, Donald Trump does, of all these people who have constantly called him a threat to democracy. Now, I have not shared all of them, but you can see the list of names. I'm going to share some of them today. Here's some of that. We have Kamala Harris. We're going to start with her, right? Here's some tweets that she put out. Or X, I guess the X post that she put out. From the start, President Biden and I never take this renomination process for granted. Now the general election begins in earnest, and the contrast could not be clear. Trump is a threat to our democracy and our fundamental freedoms. Then we have Kamala Harris. Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms. Then we have another one. Donald Trump has vowed that he will be a dictator on day one. Fake news. He is a threat to our democracy and to our fundamental freedom. If reelected, Trump has vowed to be a dictator on day one and openly said he intends to weaponize the Department of Justice against his enemy. You mean like you have? They have weaponized the Department of Justice against their political opposition. This is exactly what they've done. Donald Trump never did that. It's on us to recognize the threat he poses. The choice is clear in November. That's Kamala Harris. Oh, and that's the very same rhetoric, by the way, that was used by the assassin, the second assassin who tried to kill Donald J. Trump. Hey, then remember this, we have Joe Biden. Yes, according to Snopes, Biden said it's time to put a bullseye on him. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye. Here's the context. We also have this. Roll call, one existential threat and shift. Biden gives Trump a tongue lashing. Then we also have Joe Biden himself. Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to our democracy. He's literally a threat to everything America stands for. Here's another one. Donald Trump and you and me, MAGA Republicans, are a threat to the very soul of this country. And mind you, in that video slew that you heard in the beginning, they also called you a threat to democracy. What do you think is going to happen if they get another 4 years? They're going to arrest more of us, send the IRS after. This is how I feel it's going to go down, because this is the cards that they have shown. They have gone after Trump. They have gone after his people. They've gone after his managers. They've gone after his people. They've gone after J6ers, accusing them of stuff right? That had nothing to do with the do, and giving them massive prison sentences. Meanwhile, they're still on a rampage. Let me show you some others here. The Hill. House Democrat apologizes for saying Trump has to be eliminated. We also have Liz Cheney, and this is Mike Levin, and I didn't agree on most things when we both served in the House, but this we can agree on. Donald Trump is a threat to our nation, our freedom, and our democracy, which is fake news. Then we also has this on New York Post. As soon as it finally loads, or I'll come back to that one. We also have Rebecca Balint. Donald Trump admits he never would rule out inciting political violence again if he loses. And remember, that's fake news, by the way. We cannot underestimate the threat he poses to American democracy. This one is Stacey Plassett, by the way, who says Trump needs to be, quote unquote, shot, if you will. And then we also have, and that one's just not loading, so I'm going to skip it. But Dan Goldman, Donald Trump remains the greatest threat to our democracy. And here's a lie. Look no further than Project 2025. It's a lie, which is Trump's. It's not Trump's. And his allies' plan to march us into fascism. I am proud to join Stop the Project 2025 task force. Again, fake news. Donald Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025. They're constantly spreading lies. Then we have Maxine Waters, and here's what she says about you, Trump supporters, as a reminder. Take a listen.
This is a man who we better be careful about. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the Justice Department, and I'm going to ask the president to tell us what they're going to do to protect this country against violence if he loses. I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that he's connected with who are training up in the hills somewhere,
really?
And targeting, what communities they're going to attack.
That's not true. Maxine Waters, show us the information on that. We're training in the hills to whom we can attack. I've never heard such a thing. But anyway, fake news. And we also have fake news queen herself calling us domestic terrorists.
I am going to spend some time with the criminal justice system, with the justice system, asking them, tell us what's going on with the domestic terrorists. Are they preparing a civil war against us? Should we be concerned about our safety? What is he doing with this divisive language? It is dangerous, and we're going to have to make sure that we understand that we're not at risk with this man talking in the way that he's doing.
Okay, forget you. I hate this woman. I really hate this woman with a passion. But anyway, here she is. Domestic terrorist threat you are. Really? Weren't you the one saying kick him out of the restaurants and all of that? And you want to punch him in the face? Same lady. And my question is, why don't you do the same thing about the left? Is the left out there planning civil wars in the whole 9 yards? I'd like to know, Maxine Waters. Why are you only pointing out one side? I'm against it no matter what side of the fence you're on. It's insanity. I'm not for any violence at all. I'm against all violence. Why don't you call out the left for the same crap? You know what the truth of the matter is? We are screwed if Kamala Harris gets in charge, not only because there's a risk of these three-letter agencies going fully after her political opposition, and not to mention big tech organizations trying to shut a lot of us down. And by the way, speaking of censorship, Florida McKee, if you guys follow him, he just got a strike on his channel and a warning on his channel, so he won't be up for a week. But this is the kind of thing that is happening to a lot of conservatives. I don't know the full details. I don't know what happened or why, right? Guess we'll find out. Maybe. But anyway, please pray for him, bottom line. So just wanted to let you guys know that. But there is going to be more massive censorship down the road. This is why I tell you guys, get to restrictedrepublic.com. I created this because of all the crap that they're doing, and it's a lot of crap. Get to restrictedrepublic.com. Check us out there today. Please sign up. Use the coupon code LEESON5 to get it for literally like $5 per month, right? Go to Restricted Republic. Please meet me there. But anyway, so much is happening. It's sickening. And if this woman becomes in charge, you're going to get grocery rationing if she becomes president. I would almost guarantee you that if she goes forward with her proposal of limits on gouging. That's always what happens. These producers can't produce what they're asking for at the cost that they can't. Many of them end up closing down. The others that try to go through it, change the product to make it so unhealthy and so crappy that they use the cheapest stuff that they can use, then they sell that on the market. Oh, and by the way, it's not going to be nowhere near as much on the market. And then, of course, cue black markets. Right? And you're going to be taxed to death. Raising the corporate rates from 21 to 28 always goes down to the middle class. Look, let me be very frank with you. We're up against a machine, folks. We really and truly are. We're up against a machine. Whoever the Democrat president, it doesn't matter. As you saw with Kamala Harris, no need for her to get elected. They selected her and put her in. And I did a coup, if you will, against Joe Biden. We don't need you anymore. You're old. We're going to put this candidate in. And they knew it long before, right? I told you guys years before it happened, like a year or so before it happened. How did we? Well, we're able to read their playbook. It doesn't matter who it is. The Democrat candidate is the candidate of the millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires they claim they don't have on their side, that are pulling the literal strings. This is why Donald Trump is so attacked, because he is not getting his strings pulled. They are. Very much so. And they're doing the bidding of their masters, not the bidding of the American people. We are fighting a machine, not physically, metaphorically speaking. We're up against a machine of people. Call it whatever name you want to call it, the bureaucracy, the committee class, the swamp, the Levite, whatever, the blob. That's what it is. Donald Trump stands against that. Let's vote this election. Anyhow, I love you all. Thanks for listening. I'm Lisa Haven signing out.